Seeing as I've been playing Wynncraft for the past few weeks, let's compare it to another big boy MMORPG server, Hypixel Skyblock. Now, I know categorizing Hypixel Skyblock as an MMORPG is not strictly true, as it focuses less on the RPG aspect. Feel free to debate it in the comments, but I'll move on. But let me get this out there first. Hypixel Skyblock will come out looking worse in this comparison, but don't take me wrong, I love both servers and do play on both, even with the shit I'm about to put it through. Hypixel Skyblock is currently the most popular game mode on the Hypixel network, which is also the biggest server in Minecraft, with over 30,000 players at any time and close to 50,000 at its peak. Suffice to say, it is immensely popular. But what makes it popular in the first place? The simple answer will be its uniqueness. The more complicated answer is that it fills a void many other servers fail to fill. Hypixel Skyblock is first and foremost a PvE MMO game. It is incredibly custom, filled with literal thousands of hours worth of unique things to do and explore. It is very well made, with things for everyone. And comparing to other servers, it is rather wallet friendly, meaning non-ranked players have the same chance as ranked players to be powerful. However, great as it has been, the MMO part of Skyblock has taken the front stage, and the RPG has been slightly forgotten. Considering how overpowered many items are in-game at this moment, the gap between the veteran and the newbie are immensely big, dealing over millions and millions of damage and having close to billions of coins in the bank. Storyline-wise, Hypixel Skyblock barely has any. I don't mean that in a bad way, but it does lead to some other problems. Without a story, the main or the core mechanics of Hypixel Skyblock is to compete with other players, with no significant end goals. While this may leave room for developers to add more interesting content, it becomes repetitive and tedious at some point. And for Skyblock, it might just be the introduction of Slayers. I don't want to sound too cocky, but a quick look in the forum can show how much of a slog Slayer is. The fact is, Hypixel Skyblock is a very grindy game. It is designed to be that way. While there are nothing wrong with grindy games, it doesn't particularly mix well with the RPG aspect, or at least in this instance. Without touching upon the economic side, Skyblock requires its player to carry out the same task at the same location over and over. I guess the best question to ask is, if you remove the grinding aspect, what else are there to enjoy within Hypixel Skyblock? Let me know down below in the comment section. While it is made to appeal to the MMORPG community, Hypixel Skyblock is predominantly grinding, and with examples like Slayer Quest, it is not very entertaining. If there's a line between fun gameplays and chores, Hypixel Skyblock is stepping very close to that line, and in a sense, it is somewhat smart to do so. If a task is notoriously hard or notoriously grindy and requires immense patience, when a player reaches the end, it will be very rewarding, not physically, but psychologically. From this perspective, it is great for player retention, and Skyblock developers are very smart in this aspect. While I won't be the one determining if this method is good or bad in the long-term game development, I would say this method has one of the biggest trade-offs. Its attraction to new players will diminish. Its appeal is placed solely on the veterans who have put thousands of hours of gameplay into it, and based on human psychology, it gets a lot harder to walk away once a significant amount of work has been put into it. In this case, thousands of hours of content become somewhat of a problem for Hypixel Skyblock. Now, Wynncraft. Can you really fault Wynncraft? I mean, what's there to fault? No, but seriously, I haven't found any MMORPG where I have enjoyed this much. While it doesn't have a significant player base, nor does it have as much content as Hypixel Skyblock, it is first and foremost an RPG, then MMO. Even though Wynncraft has existed since 2013, I hope I'm not wrong. Joining the server in current days doesn't feel overwhelming. Like a well-constructed RPG, it slowly introduces each mechanic to the player, and admittedly, there's not a lot of overcomplicated mechanics to learn about in the first place. While simple in mechanics, the gameplay experience is nothing less than impressive. Everything from dungeons to the storylines to the map, which is ludicrously big. The fact that grinding is not everything in the game. In fact, it is hardly a necessity, as it is possible to progress without putting hours into grinding. But there is always an option to do so. Quest and doing dungeon once is almost enough for player to get to a relatively high level. And doing quests doesn't seem like a chore in any sense. It is very clear that Wynncraft developers have put an immense amount of effort into designing the quest and building an interesting story for the world and the playable character itself. Credits to where it's due, the lore for Wynncraft is so long that I haven't even finished reading it. I believe it is written by Grian, and it is certainly an interesting read. However, all that praise also comes with issues. You gotta have a balanced comparison, right? Although I've been on Wynncraft for a very short amount of time, around 2 months and fairly low level, there are some problems I've identified. Without wishing to step upon the legacy and politics of Wynncraft, many current game mechanics are rather clunky. While the cutscenes are very impressive in the sense that the devs achieve such level of animation, they haven't stopped and thought about if it should be done. I guess the main problem here is, while Wynncraft have been ambitious, and rightly so, but in some aspect, given the limitation of Minecraft, is it too ambitious? While on the subject of game mechanics, professions, it doesn't seem so important in the game, or at least as far as I've gotten. There seems to be an awful amount of complaints about it being pointless and needlessly grindy, and hasn't proven to be any more beneficial than using gear from loot chests and dungeon shops. It takes a lot longer to acquire through mindless mining, cutting, fishing, and farming. Next! But these criticisms on Wynncraft should be taken with a grain of salt, as it is what I've observed over a very small time span. Anyway, that was my dissection of the 2 most popular MMORPG servers. Feel free to prove me wrong in the comment, but don't turn it into Warzone. Please.